Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Today I want to talk about why I think this headphone is actually underhyped. This is the Epos PC38x. Now, the thing about this headphone is a lot of people say it's one of the best gaming headphones, and I definitely agree with that. But I think by extension, it actually is probably one of the best kind of audiophile headphones too, because this headphone has probably one of the most natural type of tunings I've heard in any open back headphones. And I think I find about a lot of headphones is they kind of sound a little bit off. They don't always sound the most natural. There's always some little frequency here and there that's off, but this one really just hits it on the mark. Like it is just such a natural sound. And I think a lot of people kind of look at this headphone and they're like, oh, it's a gaming headphone and has a microphone. But this thing is literally like one of the best measuring two headphones out there in terms of tuning, and it really does sound like that as well. That more natural type of sound really kind of helps you when you're playing games, be more immersed in the environment. It really does sound like you're there because voices sound like voices, like gunshots, explosions sound like explosions, and I think it just does a really good job at kind of getting you like immersed in the environment. But even if you're just listening to music when you're not playing games, this also does a really, really good job. And then, of course, when it comes to competitive gaming, we'll talk about how this also compares because it's an open back headphone. It also has angle drivers, which really help with that as well. But yeah, anyways, please like and subscribe down below. Helps my videos out. I bought this myself a few months back actually, and it took me a while to get to this review. All right, so taking a closer look at the build. So it is the black version. They have a yellow version as well. And this one is honestly made of completely of plastic. So the build quality of this is what I would say good, but nothing completely stellar. So the yoke design over here is kind of, it's all plastic. There's no metal right here. I find the top headband to be very kind of comfortable. The ear pads themselves are actually comfortable on this pair with the velour. The stock ones are less comfortable in my opinion. Then we take a look at the microphone. So the microphone is adjustable in the sense of like you can kind of move the direction. So you can hear it click, but if you go up, it's muted. Here you can, get audio, so it's pretty easy. I would say the one thing about this headphone really is the clamp force. I think a lot of Sennheiser headphones in general kind of clamp a little hard. So if it's a little too hard, you can loosen it up. But that's probably the most, I guess, uncomfortable part of this headphone where you can probably just stretch it out, honestly, to make it less clampy. When it comes to accessories for this headphone, you get one cable, so you get one terminating into a 3.5, and then you actually get some spare pads as well. So the stock is these kind of, I guess, cloth pads. I didn't really like how they kind of fit or the comfort of them. They're a little thin. So I ended up using the velours instead, and I find the velours to be a lot more comfortable. Now, the sound does actually change between them. The velours are actually brighter, so you get a little bit more treble detail. And I do find this to be a little bit more detailed in my opinion. I like it a lot more. I think if you use the velours long enough, I've noticed that the bass kind of has increased over time because as the pads get kind of worn in and squished more, the bass seems to be increasing a little bit. That's what I noticed. Versus these pads in the beginning had more bass than the velours, but I've been using this so much that I think this is the better kind of pad in general in both just sound and comfort. So I actually have some replacement pads by Deconi. I actually got to try these out. So we have a midnight one over here, and then we have the choice leather over here. Now, the thing about these leather pads, they do change the sound, but they're also way more comfortable than either of the stock pads. So if you're looking for a different sound, I would say for me, I think the midnight one is actually the better sounding between these two. The choice one just sounds a little darker, a little bit bassier. I prefer the sound of this one because it sounds a little bit more balanced on the midnights. And that's good for you guys too because the midnights are cheaper than the kind of choice leather. So for the midnights, I think this one basically from the stock sound, it increases the bass. So you get a lot more bass. I wouldn't say a lot more bass, but you do get more bass than the stock. And it sounds a little bit more rounded. And then your kind of treble frequencies are a little bit lower, so it's a little bit more warmer sounding, so a little bit less emphasis up there. And it makes it a little bit more of a fun bassy experience. So if you're looking for that, I definitely recommend the Midnights because they sound a lot more fun sounding. So yeah. Alright, so this is the PC38x. Now, this is what it sounds like with the microphone. I'll do a little bit type test for you guys. And yeah, it sounds like with my typing. I hope you guys like it. All right, so let's talk about sound. So how does it sound? So this has a kind of, what people call a mid-range focus type of sound, but essentially you get a really nice, slightly boosted bass, and you can hear all the way down to the sub-bass frequencies actually for this headphone. And I found that pretty much fantastic because a lot of open back headphones you can't do that, and that's one of the areas that this really does stand out. Now a second area as well this does stand out is just through the mid-range to like the upper mid-range, which basically means like your male vocals, your female vocals, your instruments, all those. You're like one of the most natural sounding things you'll ever hear in any headphone. Like they basically rival like the 6XX, and that's pretty crazy honestly on this headphone. And I think that combination with the ability to play the bass in a low bass frequencies and even have a slight lift in the bass really gives us a nice satisfying type of bass as well as natural voices that just really kind of immerse you in there. And then when you finish off this headphone in the treble and the higher frequencies, it doesn't really have any of those like harsh properties like a lot of other headphones have. And so really up there, the sound's really natural. And it's just like, what else can you ask for a gaming headphone that has such a good tuning that any person will pick this up and it'll remind you of like your speakers. It'll just sound really that good. For me, it makes it really special. Now, when you're playing games like Valorant, FPS games, so I was Immortal at one point, then I was Ascendant. I'm Diamond now because I basically don't play because I'm a YouTuber and I just make YouTube videos rather than grind ladder. But for this headphone, when I was testing, like you can really honestly tell where everybody is. It's very sharp, very accurate because the drivers are angled, your positional accuracy is much better than your average headphone. And I think a combination of that and this being open back, so the sounds sound a little bit larger, a little bit bigger sound stage, so things sound a little further. So it just gives you kind of more room to kind of play with when you're kind of listening to all the sounds and what are happening. I do think this is easily one of the best headphones you can have for basically playing FPS. And yeah, so like to me, it's obviously a no-brainer if you're looking for FPS gaming. This one definitely does the job very well. So in conclusion, I do think this is one of the best gaming headphones you can get for its price. It's open back with a very good tuning. It's almost hilarious how good of a tuning it has. Like there's so many other headphones that are quote audiophile that don't even sound as well tuned as this is. So this definitely gets a lot of praise for that. And of course, when you're playing competitive gaming, you get good imaging and does everything you want. And so I would happily, definitely recommend this headphone for all its features. It was basically built to be used by gamers. Anyways, I hope this video helps you guys. Like and subscribe down below. Check out my other videos. I've reviewed other gaming headsets like the Odyssey Maxwell. I'll be doing a comparison to the Epos H6 Pro and probably the Sennheiser HD58X as well in a future video. So subscribe for that. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.